everyone. Happy Read Across America Week. So what I wanted to do today was read a book to you, or just 2 quick pages from a book, because this book has a ton of information in it, but it's called Little Leaders, Bold Women in Black History. And I did it for a couple of reasons. One, because Black History Month was February, which just happened, but also because March is Women's History Month. And the author of this is named Vashti Harrison. And something super, super cool about her is she's actually from Virginia. And she is an author, and she wrote this really, really cool book. And it highlights a lot of different leaders, especially women leaders in Black history. And I thought it was interesting because these are a lot of leaders that we've probably never heard of. So I think it's so cool that she researched different leaders that we don't always think of. And another reason that I picked this is, like I said, because she is from Virginia, which is super cool that we're reading a book about an author from the same state that we live in. So I am going to read 2 little excerpts from this, one about a famous African-American woman who died a while ago, and then one for someone who is still alive. So the first one that I'm going to start out with, her name is Sojourner Truth, and she was born in 1797, and she died in 1883. So she kind of lived a long time ago, but she's famous for being an abolitionist, which is someone who spoke out against slavery, and a women's rights advocate. So Sojourner was born a slave in upstate New York under the name Isabel Baumfree. Under the state's Gradual Emancipation Act, she was due her freedom in 1827. When she realized her own slave owner was planning to keep her enslaved, Sojourner ran away with her infant daughter in tow. But this came at a huge cost. She had to leave behind her 5-year-old son. The slave owner sold Sojourner's son to a plantation 1,000 miles away in Alabama. Meanwhile, Sojourner remained in hiding in New York until her freedom was official. When the coast was clear, Sojourner filed a court case saying her son had been sold illegally. She was one of the first Black women to file a court case in America, and even though it seemed nearly impossible, she won. She got her son back. In 1843, she changed her name to Sojourner, which means traveler, and became a preacher. She traveled the country, sharing her messages for women's rights and the abolition of slavery everywhere. Although Sojourner could neither read nor write, her voice carried far. In December 1851, she gave a speech that she made up on the spot. In it, she advocated on behalf of Black women who faced the double discrimination of racism and sexism, and had often been left out of the fight for equality. The speech is known by its most famous refrain, "Ain't I a woman?" She went on to encourage African Americans to fight on behalf of the Union in the Civil War. That's going to be like the northern states. For former slaves to be given places to live, and for desegregation of streetcars. She was an agitator and a fierce activist for equality. So that was Sojourner Truth. Super, super cool. And now we're going to read one about Raven Wilkinson, and she is a ballerina. She was born in 1935, and she is still alive, which I think is really, really cool. So Raven's love for dance began at age 5, when her mother took her to a performance by the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. 15 years later, she made history by becoming their first full-time African-American dancer. It was not an easy journey. The life of a ballerina is never easy, but Raven also faced prejudice and discrimination because of her race. The Ballet Russe toured through the segregated South, and it was risky to have an integrated cast. Friends warned her that they would never take her because she was Black. Her talent was undeniable, though, and in 1955, Raven was accepted on a trial basis. She was fair-skinned, so she was encouraged to wear white makeup. She kept her race a secret, but refused to lie when she was asked outright. Even though she had a successful 2 years with the Ballet Russe, racism put limitations on her career. Exhausted and heartbroken, she left dance for a while. In 1967, she was invited to join the Dutch National Ballet and moved to Holland for 6 years. So she moved out of America and she moved to Europe. As she was nearing the age of 40, she believed her dancing career to be over, so she retired and moved back to the United States. Almost immediately, she received a call from the ballet master at the New York City Opera and was asked to dance with them at Lincoln Center. Raven danced until she was 50 and continued acting in the opera until 2013. Every step of the way was a challenge, but Raven persisted. Her strength and grace led the way for dancers such as Misty Copeland to take on the role of principal dancer at the American Ballet Theater and defy long-standing beauty and body standards for ballerinas. So I think that's super cool because I grew up dancing and I was never a ballerina. Being a ballerina was never my thing, but I think it's so cool that she was able to be a ballerina and fight all of these obstacles. I think that's awesome because being a ballerina is tough, and it has to be even tougher through all the obstacles that she faced. So, like I said, I wanted to read this book. It's super, super cool. There's so, so, so many other people. I just picked two that kind of stood out to me, but there are so, so, so many more. And like I said, it's super cool that our author is from Virginia. She actually went to UVA, which is in Charlottesville, which is only an hour away from here. So I think it's so interesting when we pick books and read books about people that kind of have a connection to us, because it helps us to make a connection to their reading.